In this segment, Stephanie Miller welcomes Noel Casler to the program. Noel is a comedian and a former contestant on Celebrity Apprentice. He takes us behind the scenes of what it's like dealing with Donald Trump without the cameras running. Here's Stephanie.
Honestly, the biggest in the world. We just talked about this off air. The biggest physical coward ever. The biggest, seriously, the guy with the makeup and the lifts and the
100%.
Really is your macho. It's insane.
He's a dude who gets manicures, who spends his life on Fifth Avenue. But what I told people, what I saw was Jared and Vanki were running the show, right? Trump was like he is now. He just wants to walk in the room. He wants music to play. He wants to get high and hit on women. Like, he's very simple in his desires. Those two had the long game. And the after parties were like Russian mobsters, with their 23-year-old girlfriends wearing fur coats in May, in New York City, showing up, and Felix Sater, who had a Trump Organization business card, making the rounds and introducing them to Jared and Vanki. And I'm like, it was as long before he ran for president, but I was like, what is going on here? So then when he ran, and we began to see the influence of Russians, I'm like, makes sense. This is they have their talons in him in that organization for a long time, and this is much more dangerous and much more of a threat to our democracy than anybody is talking
and that's
about.
why just again, it drops without a whatever. Yeah, of course he gave the COVID machines to Putin. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, but this is what I think you're right about. There's that segment of his base that they don't care how many experts and military officials and scientists and everyone that worked for him is warning them with hair on fire. They don't care. They're all like, oh, it's all fake news. We don't care about experts.
Right. And it's
economists warning. Right. Yeah.
You're saying it so well, and it's so maddening and such a paradox, right? These are the same people that went to Vietnam, that fought in Korea, that had this existential threat of communism, let them sign up and go die in some foreign soil. And now they're like, yeah, I don't care if he's in bed with Putin. What's so bad about Putin?
And the story of this, I always say it, no, it's going to be the cowardice of this party. Our favorite alpha liberal, Cliff Schechter, found audio, of course, of J.D. Vance on tape saying he hopes Trump loses in 2016. Yeah, cut one. Yes, cut one. Here we go.
I was at the Daily Beast writing for them as a columnist at the time, and J.D. Vance being hosted by Warren Only, who used to host a show on NPR. That's correct.
But I do think that the Democratic Party generally, if I can offer some advice to my friends on the other side, I think that Trump's voters and Trump's phenomenon, even if he loses the election, as I hope he will, they're going to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is just such, nobody is on record, right? America's Hitler, not stuff that you just change your mind about, right? All of the things he said about Trump that he knows are true.
100%. He's a shape-shifting little weasel. He's like the Eddie Haskell of Republican politics. I saw on C-SPAN his book chat from when his book came out. He was getting interviewed, and it was only like 2017, and he was a different person. He was still in his Yale kind of roots and quoting like the women who had helped him at Yale and professors and the studies of feminism. It was like watching a different person than who you see today, which makes you realize how unmoored he is to any true moral, core himself. And that's, again, what you don't want in a leader,
He's made the whole party like that. Okay. Oh, Cliff Schechter was not done alpha liberaling, right? Meghan McCain recently threatened Democrats by saying she would release what her father really thought about Kamala Harris. That threat backfired on Sunday. Cliff said, I wrote a book about your dad in 2008, as I'm sure you know, Meghan, so go ahead and do it, Nepo. Then I'll share what your father's advisors and others close to him told me he really thought about you. Things I had no reason to publish except to be cruel, but will happily share now in light of what you've become. You go first.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
A real man works and sometimes has a gut, you know what I mean? And protects those more vulnerable around him. That's what real manhood looks like, is making sure everybody gets to, be themselves, has enough to eat and a safe place to sleep. That's the best definition of manhood is being in service to others humbly. That's what a man is. That's what strength is in my eyes, not macho machismo BS.
And he gets more gross and misogynistic. What was the whole protector thing was like the creepy hair on the back of your neck, like, I'll be your protector. Listen, little lady, you're not going to be thinking about abortion anymore. You just need me. I'm like, really? The rapist is going to be our protector? Oh, my God. So, Richard Stengel, former U.S. State Department official, he said it perfectly, Noel. He said the Trump candidacy is not so much a political campaign as what intelligence services call an influence operation, a coordinated effort to use mis- and disinformation to undermine democratic institutions and processes.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was saying about a Joe Walsh thing, most of his followers know he's lying. They don't care.
Right. Right, because they're on board with him in dismantling the institutions because they see it as somehow failing them. Globalization, right? The move towards an online, more tech-based economy has disenfranchised people that were traditionally picked on by the Republican Party. They just could never see that Reagan made the Rust Belt, that LBOs moved companies overseas so Wall Street could be deregulated and profit while guys who once could go to a factory and make a good living and put 2 kids through college could no longer do that. And after a few decades of that, people are looking for a boogeyman, right? And Trump gives them a boogeyman, and he helps them with an easy solution to a very complex problem that doesn't have any easy answers. But you don't give up on democracy in the face of complexity. You strengthen and broaden it.
Yeah. Another former U.S. ambassador said the Trump effort has the support of his BFF Putin, who has paid agents in the U.S. as social influencers to help promote Russia's pro-Trump narrative. And by the way, he said, this would have been a very cool thing for the Obama administration to say in 2015, 2016. I've said this so many times, Noel. I wish he had said, F you, Mitch McConnell. I am going to warn the American people that, Russia is interfering to help Trump. But,
I spoke to Hillary's campaign in 2016. That was the main impetus for me speaking out. I broke the NDA to talk about what he did behind the scenes and the Adderall, but it was because he was in active addiction.